We have the Ayatollah of fantasy rock and roller with us today, Adam Rank. How you doing, Rank?
They look great in person, and I just can't wait to next year where we can pack it full of 25,000.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. I didn't know it was Ball Guys Day. It was being ranked. I mean, how can you lose?
This is the Dynasty Vipers ViperCast.
Hello and welcome to the Dynasty Vipers ViperCast. This is episode 117. And as always, we are presented by the Fantasy Points Media Group. And joining me each and every week, Major Caldwell, the host with the most, is back in the house to help us guide you through this week in fantasy and to go behind the grind with a little bit someone special here in a second who really needs no introduction, but we are going to give an introduction because, hey, if you've got fantasy fever, if you've got rookie fever, you are in luck because the doc is making house calls this week here in the Viper Pit. Dr.Roto himself. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing great. I mean, the season just ended, and we're talking fantasy football again. I love it. I can't stop.
I mean, you've got things going there over at drroto.com. I mean, baseball, football, soccer, hockey. I think there's midget wrestling in there. Maybe some fat guy hacky sack. You've got everything on that website right now, right?
We do. The fat guy hacky sack is very popular, as you would imagine. So plus, Sri Lankan cricket. So we cover everything on the site to make whatever you need, we're there for you.
Nice.
The one-stop shop for all your fantasy needs, not just pertaining to fantasy football, although you have some pretty good fantasy football information there as well.
We do. Look, we pride ourselves on that. It's, as I like to say, it's Coke, right? In the industry, everything else is Pepsi and ginger ale and Sprite. Fantasy football drives the bus. It's what we talk about on Sirius XM all the time. It is what people want to hear about. They want to hear about it literally every day. And today, we just caught one of the great days of football. I mean, considering the Russel Wilson trade, Aaron Rodgers signing, and all these things that are out there.
So we're going to touch on all those here in just a second. But, hey, we just finished the combine. People have that rookie fever. This is the time to capitalize on those league mates that may be hyped a little too much. But I want to kind of talk to you about two or three guys at each position there, fantasy relevant. I love myself some IDP, but we're going to keep that to a separate show for a little bit later on down the road. QBs, tight ends, running backs, and wide receivers. Who are two or three quarterbacks that made some noise to you that caught your eye this weekend?
Yeah, you know what? I would think that one of the reasons that Seattle was open to trading Russell Wilson, which I don't think they really wanted to do, but there were some guys there like Malik Willis from Liberty. I mean, this guy's got a cannon for an arm. I mean, this is unlike anything we've seen in a long time. Plus, he can run. Would that shock you if they thought they could get him at 9? Maybe they even make a trade with the Giants and move up to 5 to get him if they really like him. So I think I've got my eye on him. I've got my eye on Kenny Pickett and his small hands because I don't really care about small hands. I care about accurate passers. And I watched that guy play at Pitt last year, and he looked like he could play in the NFL. So I remember people didn't like Dave Krieg either because he had small hands, and he worked out to be a decent enough quarterback too.
Well, I love the Kenny Pickett small hands thing because we can make fun of him with having the small hands. But, hey, if you're a wide receiver, that ball probably looks bigger coming out of that hand, right? There's more ball to see. So maybe it's an advantage moving forward. I don't know. What about the running back position?
The running backs, I've been on Breece Hall for a couple of years now. I watched this kid play at Iowa State. This guy is a Sunday player all day, every day. He could be an impact player in his first year in the right system. I feel the same way about Walker from Michigan State. I mean, this guy is a really top-notch player. Looked great in the Big Ten most weeks. Not every week, but for the most part, he looked like a guy who has a burst, has juice, can get around the edge, can run between the tackles. So I think these two guys stand head and shoulders above the rest. I mean, I know Spiller was injured. I did like him, but we'll have to see how he looks at his pro day.
And speaking of pro days, I know there's a lot of people waiting to see these wide receivers go at it again at their pro days. They put on quite the show here at this combine. I know we didn't see our Drake London as much as we might want to and stuff like that, some of these other guys, but who were some wide receivers that really caught your eye?
Yeah, I'll give you one guy you know and one guy maybe you don't. Chris Olave, you know, right? He's fast. He's good. He's going to be a first-round pick. He's going to be a star in this league. That's just fact. But maybe you don't know Calvin Austin III from Memphis. Memphis has a really great program. Think about the guys who've come out there and how successful they've been. I mean, Kenneth Gainwell, Darrell Henderson, all these guys, very good. Antonio Gibson, really good players. And I think Austin is a terrific slot receiver who's got great running ability after the catch. Watch him surprise a lot of people this season.
I don't think it surprised anybody to see 6 of these wide receivers go in the first round. That's how deep this position is. They may not have that top end talent, that Jamar Chase kind of guy, that Justin Jefferson that we're used to in the last few drafts, but I think consistently through up and down this wide receiver class. I mean, Calvin Austin, you mentioned him. He's going probably right now early on wide receiver 13-ish, give or take, depending on your fantasy drafts. Definitely an impact type player. Now, what about the tight ends? Is there anyone that kind of caught your eyes? Because you know what? I love me a good, solid tight end.
Yeah, I hear you. Trey McBride is a star, right? This guy is going to play. I mean, he's not Kyle Pitts, but he's certainly a guy who can play year one. I also like this kid, Charlie Kohler from Iowa State.
That's my
he's
favorite.
He's not going to get a lot of attention, but he's just really good blocker, good receiver, does everything well enough. The problem is with tight ends, they're like catchers in baseball. It takes them more time to be ready. So a Kolar might, first year, I see him maybe getting 20, 30 catches, but I think by year 3, he could be at 50. So he's a guy in a dynasty league I'll have my eye on.
So what you're saying is Calvin Ridley's probably not betting on these tight ends to start performing right off the get-go, hey?
Yeah, come on. I mean, feel so badly. So first of all, I have compassion, right? You know, my wife is another Dr.Roto, right? She's a psychologist. So I'm all about mental health and about people getting right. But, you know, when you start betting on the sport, I don't care if it's FanDuel. I don't care what it is. I mean, it's a problem. You're crossing a line. Now, look, dude, if you really want to do it, get your friend to open up an account and give him some money and bet through him, okay? You're Calvin Ridley. It's going to come out. So where do we go from here? I don't know. But I know Roger Goodell threw the book at him, basically said, look, he made an example of Calvin Ridley. I'm not happy about it. I've got Ridley on a dynasty team, but it's just fact. And I don't see any way around this happening. He's going to miss the year.
I think a lot of people are more upset with some of the things that we've seen that are maybe more serious, that have had a little bit less discipline involved in there. I think that's kind of where people are drawing a little bit of concern there. We've heard about the things going on in Miami. Nothing seems to be getting done with that. They're investigating. You got Calvin Ridley. Hopefully he didn't have the over prop for Kyle Pitts touchdowns this year. So, I mean, that's probably where he may have lost a little bit of money there as well. But you know what? I'm not going to kick a guy while he's down. I'm going to save that for my Monday musings. But we're going to keep on this show rolling, keep on football talk going. And it is tagging season. We've seen all kinds of players get franchised here today. I mean, look at this. The quarterback position was at 29.7. Didn't see any quarterbacks get tagged at that price. Primarily the wide receivers, 18.4 million was that tag that they got. We've seen a couple there. Chris Godwin, he got the tag. Devontae Adams, he got that tag. But maybe more so than anything, and I want your thoughts on this, is the tight end tag that's going around. We had David Njoku get tagged. Mike Gesicki, he got tagged. Dalton Schultz, he got tagged. Last year, we seen Jonnu Smith go for $12.5 million to the Patriots. The tag on the tight end was 10.9. Good move or bad move to tag these tight ends?
Well, I think it's both. So Gesicki, the Dolphins need him, right? I mean, he's a big target, really good in the red zone. I think there's still more upside in his game. I mean, he's a little inconsistent, but when he's good, he's one of the better guys in the league. I think Dalton Schultz has been a revelation for the Cowboys. I mean, Dak Prescott looks to him a lot. I mean, this is a kind of guy that can get 5 or 6 receptions a game. And if you're not going to re-sign Amari Cooper, which it doesn't look like that's going to happen, you're going to need Schultz. Now, David Njoku doesn't make much sense to me, right? You've got Austin Hooper. You've got Harrison Bryant. Do you really need Njoku? I get that he's athletic. I get that he's a big target, but that seems a little wasteful to me. But the other two guys, really good, solid players who are coachable and talented.
Speaking of talent, I didn't think we'd see the day. I mean, Russel Wilson, gone, heading to Denver. I mean, this would not have happened back in my AFC days when you had Seattle and Denver in the same division, way back when they were playing in the kingdom there. But Russel Wilson and a 4th-round pick heading to Denver for 2 firsts, one being that number 1, that 9th overall pick. We remember Denver, Seattle had lost their first-round pick for this season in that Jamal Adams trade, so they got that first-round pick. We've kind of made that comparison. Malik Willis is a possible destination there for the Seahawks. So 2 firsts, 2 seconds. Again, this year and next year, those seconds are spread out. So Denver does have 2 picks here, but they're only sending 1 this year in the second round. Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and Shelby Harris going in return. Is this enough for you to justify Seattle moving Russell Wilson?
Yeah, I think it's enough. I do. I think it's enough. I think it's a really good deal. And look, I think Seattle made a mistake in one way. I would have gotten rid of Pete Carroll and not Russell Wilson. I think Pete Carroll's days are done. I do. And I have respect for Pete Carroll. I'm not knocking Pete Carroll, but I think, look, you've got Russell Wilson, you've got Tyler Lockett, you've got DK Metcalf, and you say that you want to be a running team. I must have missed something there when you got 2 of the top receivers in football. And you've got a quarterback who wants to throw the football. So you're restricting him in such a way that I think it's like sucking the fun out of that team. And when a guy gets that way, something's got to give. So you either have to get rid of the coach or you get rid of the player. And obviously they kept Carroll and got rid of the player. So in terms of what they got back, look, Drew Lock is a gap filler. We know that he's the Jared Goff of this year. Maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's more. Shelby Harris can play. He's not great, but he's about 31 years old. He can play. He's a solid lineman, really good against the run, decent enough against the pass. He will play. Noah Fant, better than Gerald Everett on Gerald Everett's best day. So you got an upgrade there. And now you got a boatload of picks where you can improve your team, which needs improvement. Let's be honest. Is Seattle a good team right now? Are they a playoff team? No. The problem is, fantasy-wise, Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Man, Tyler Lockett, I feel like he's probably on his way out. And DK Metcalf is like the last guy standing there. I can't imagine he's going to be happy in any way, shape, or form. So that's the one I'm watching closely right now. I can't imagine drafting Metcalf at this point.
Like you mentioned, Lockett, there are rumblings that he is on his way out, but assuming that he stays, what pair of wide receivers would you rather have, Lockett and Metcalf or Sutton and Judy moving into 2022 if you were Russell Wilson?
Well, if I'm Russell Wilson, I want Metcalf and Lockett, but I want an offensive coordinator and I want a coach who allows me to do what I need to do. Nathaniel Hackett will tailor his offense to Russell Wilson's skill set. Courtland Sutton is a baller. Albert O is good. Javonte Williams is really good. Jerry Jeudy, let's not forget Tim Patrick, who could probably start a lot of teams. Yep. KJ Hamler, who's going to be coming back healthy. So, this Broncos team is good. It's deep. They need to improve their defense a little bit. But I like what's going on here. The only problem I have if I'm Russell Wilson is I'm in a division with Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. Good luck with that.
And Derek Carr. Just gonna throw that out. Who has more MVP votes career than Russell Wilson? Just want to throw that out there real quick, Major. I got to back my boy Derek Carr because I've seen the memes. I've seen the 3 mean dragons and then the 4th goofy dragon being Derek Carr. I've seen that meme. If you look at the numbers that these guys are putting up, yards per attempt and all this other stuff, Derek Carr is right with them. This is a very good division of quarterbacks. There's no easy games in that AFC West. No easy games. It's going to be fun for the casual football fan to sit back and watch these games. Now, one last thing. I had to leave this for the last bit of news because he doesn't want to be upstage. The pack is back, and that's Aaron Rodgers coming back to Green Bay. Maybe, kind of. I don't know. There's $200 million on the table. Allegedly, good move or bad move? $200 is $200 million is a lot of money to sink into one position there.
So look, on my Sirius XM show that I'm on 9 to 11 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday morning, I said the following. Aaron Rodgers right now is playing for his legacy. So if you think about it, you stay in the NFC. Why? Who's the other good quarterback in the NFC right now? Matthew Stafford? Outside of those 2 guys, is there anybody else that you look at and say, this is a Super Bowl winning quarterback? Meanwhile, in the AFC, Mahomes and Herbert and Allen and Burrow and Lamar Jackson and, all Russell Wilson now, all these guys are there. So the AFC is pretty tough right now. So the way I look, it's like the Western Conference in the NBA used to be. So if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I've got a legacy. I've got Devontae Adams. I've got basically a general manager that'll do whatever I tell him to do. He's got all the cards. I think he's in the right spot.
Well, we just mentioned what Russell Wilson's coming into that AFC West. A lot of connections were made to Denver and Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers would have been okay being the 3rd or 4th best quarterback in a division. Let's be honest. And I don't think he would have been able to handle that. But hey, enough of this football talk. Just around the corner here, right after the commercial break, hint, hint, there's not really a commercial break. We are going to go behind the grind with the doc and see what kind of prescriptions he's got in his medicine cabinet. So stay tuned. We'll be right back in 30 seconds or less.